special meeting of November 19th of the City Council to order. Would you all please rise and recite the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any of those that have a cell phone, if you would, please turn it down to vibrate. I have a roll call vote. Roll call. Okay. Have a roll call. Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mr. Hopkins. Yes. Mrs. Nixon.
Here.
Mrs. Powell.
Here.
Mr. Truesdale. Here. Mrs. Conlon.
Here.
Mr. Hall is here. Everyone present counts. Public forum. The council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment, public hearing portion of the agenda. However, council's policy is to hear the public's comment, not to act on the public's comment at that time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment portion of the agenda will be referred to the city manager for action. If after communication with the city manager no resolution is reached, the concern will be elevated to the mayor and eventually to the council for action. Citizens wishing to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record. Mrs. Clark, or Mrs. Kapek.
My name is Patricia Kapek. My address is 100 East Muskegon Street, Cedar Springs. I understand that the purpose of this special meeting tonight is discuss our methods of finding a new city manager. I welcome the opportunity and I welcome the idea that you are seeking public input before making a decision on a new city manager. However, I would strongly urge the council to enlist the aid of the Michigan Municipal League, our city attorney, and any other professionals that can give you some educated advice on the ways to go to find a new city manager. I think that their expertise and their knowledge in this area would be most helpful and beneficial to everyone in Cedar Springs. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Kevin Galloway, 13 Mammal Glen Drive. Just coming tonight to everybody that vacation is Saturday at 1 o'clock. You guys are all invited. It should be a great time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Galloway. This is a reminder, all citizens and everything, we have the dedication and ribbon cutting ceremony for Mr. Galloway's Eagle Project. It's Saturday at 1 at Morley Park. We really encourage everyone to be there, and I understand there'll be some refreshments and bring your snow cone. Or shovel. Thank you. Any other persons wishing to address the council at this time?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm Clerk Mark Fankhauser, 91 West Muskegon Street. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mr. Manager. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Thad for his tenure here at the City of Cedar Springs. I believe provided a very unique opportunity for the City of Cedar Springs to grow. As we identify and address the need to look for a new city manager, I also would like to thank Mrs. Kapek for the position she took. I strongly urge and suggest this City Council utilize the service provided by the Michigan Municipal League, the MML, regardless of the cost, whether it's $10,000 or $25,000. It makes no difference. We need to find a professional, qualified, committed, and capable city manager to take this city to the next step. Only a qualified professional organization such as MML can do that. It will provide you the resources necessary for you to make the decision on making the right selection for the next city manager. Also to note, last week it was heard, I heard, Madam Clerk made recommendations or acknowledgement of the fact of her upcoming potential retirement. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, Linda, for the years of service you provided to the city of Cedar Springs. 22, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you. With that, you also have a very large looming situation at deal with. You have to seat a new city manager, and you will have to seat a new clerk. And it's important that you utilize the resources available to you. When we look at this, we're going to also look at the goals and objectives that the city manager can be faced with. And when you have an individual, regardless of how you come to that selection, but when you will come to that selection, you have to look for someone that's going to provide a positive growth for the city of Cedar Springs on a sustainable model. We have to look at what is in the best interest of the taxpayers of the city of Cedar Springs. You as the elected body represent me, a taxpayer for the city of Cedar Springs. I don't live outside of the city of Cedar Springs. I reside in the city of Cedar Springs. You represent me. You represent my interests as my elected official. For those people who do not live inside the city of Cedar Springs, you do not represent them, nor do you have the obligation to represent them. But you have the obligation to represent them. So I ask that you utilize the resources of the MML and proceed forward in a positive, productive manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Just so we'll have more open discussion on the manager selection. So if you have any other discussion before the city at this time, by all means, please step this forward.
Yeah, I'm not going to love this. We're going to go to 240 Main Street. There's further discussion, but I appreciate everything everybody said, but I do want to come up here and say that as everybody was directing the council, I used to have Ronnie Burlington to go to when I had a question, since he was that guy. He talked a lot, but he was that guy. You know, and he guided any questions I had about being a resident. And I just want to say that I have faith in all of you that you will make the right decision without me directing the question.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else this time before we begin to the agenda?
My name is Randy Van Dyne. I'm from 3050 Searchwell Drive. I'm here to represent that family. Apparently that we understand that you want qualifications we're looking for a new city manager.
We'll be discussing that at length in the new business column. So, okay, if you wish to speak now or at that time.
Yep. I'll say.
Okay, thank you. We don't want to cut anybody short, but we'll allow everyone to speak once we approve the agenda to get your concerns and what your application may be for the new manager. So we don't want to cut anybody short during this part. Mr. Member, go ahead.
So, am I to understand that we aren't to speak with anything, to anything on the agenda at this point? Is there going to be time to speak but later?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what this meeting is about, is to hear the public and what their concerns are in this meeting we're having, to get information from anyone here, and then we'll all compile it. But you may speak at this time, but you will have additional time once we approve the agenda. We have a discussion regarding attributes necessary for a city manager.
My list for city manager would begin with integrity, experience, and transparency. If a person has those qualities, the rest of those on the list will follow. I noticed that experience and transparency weren't even on the list, so I wanted to make sure that we were looking in that direction. I agree that the MML is the best way to go to look for a manager. As I looked over the list, by definition, integrity encompasses more than 20 of the qualities that are listed here. So if you consolidate them under integrity, it would result in a more succinct picture of what you want to see in a manager. I would like to see the council as a whole adhere to the same qualities that they expect from a city manager. I'm sorry to say that some of those things seem to be lacking in this council. One is the knowledge of chain of command, which is knowing where your job ends and the manager's begins. Money management, equating fund balance with unnecessary expenditures. Legal knowledge, following the city attorney's recommendations, and again integrity. The abject disdain towards Manager Taylor by several council members, especially councilors Conley, Clark, Powell, and Truesdale, has been an utter embarrassment to the city. Your rudeness and unprofessional attitudes were on display for all to see. Not only at meetings, but broadcast on YouTube as well. You undermine that at every turn, interfering with day-to-day management in areas in which you had no right to meddle. You are here to represent us, not to make us a laughing stock of the area. You have represented your own self-interest and attacked anyone who stood in your way. I wonder who would be so unsuspecting as to want to certainty and brings of the manager. You have done more to ruin our city than any council I've ever seen. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, Ms. Stone.
Yes, thank you. In the past,
Yes.
I have seen two people, which you started to try to do to me, to cut them off because we cannot say anything negative. Well, when you're speaking the truth, you have every right to speak. I have people in my family in every generation who's fought from the Revolutionary War right through the Iraq War for my right to stand here and speak.
Is that you?
And I would think that the council should take note.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Been moved and second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Here, yes.
Normally when we do, public forum, what's the other one?
Public hearing?
Yeah. Do we not need to have that as an open thing right here?
Well, we're not really voting on anything, only the approval of the agenda. We can't vote on anything because it's not on. This is more of a fact-finding meeting.
Yeah. And,
But I was just wondering, I thought the reason why it was a little bit confusing as to why,
Yeah.
they can speak later on this, but normally they can't unless you have an open forum.
Oh, that's why we call the special meeting to take input from the community.
but yeah, it's unusual.
Some of you, but we can't. Any other discussion? Hearing none, approval of the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying no. Okay, moving on to new business. 5, discussion regarding attributes necessary for the city manager. At this time, we'll allow the public to come and speak. Let us know. We have a list here of some of the attributes that we have compiled. And basically, anything that you wish to say or any attributes that you wish to present to us, we will definitely compile them. And then we'll move forward. I think from here on out, until we can make a manager selection, we will probably be having a meeting every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So we can keep this process moving. Okay, having said that, we'll open the floor to anyone wishing to come and speak. I think you have spoke already, and you may, and also Mrs. Berger, you may come up and speak too.
I'll reserve my time until later on.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I just add an additional, if you have a written list
Please submit.
and you don't necessarily feel comfortable or want to speak, you can just bring us the list and we'll add it. I have offered, I won't be here on Thanksgiving break, I've offered to take all the lists and compile them. So on behalf of the mayor, knowing that the city clerk is also the acting city manager and that busy, so I said I would take that on.
Mr. Mayor, just for clarification, would you like that sent in email form, or would you like it dropped off in hard copy? Or if you would like to designate Madam Mayor Pro Tem as the recipient of
You
that?
can email it to me.
If she wishes, so to speak, you know. I'm not an email person, so if you wish, just by all means, anybody, everybody, you're want to get her email address.
And if you don't have electronic, I'm happy to take it in paper copy, if that's easier for you. And if not, you're welcome to email it.
Yeah, drop it out
Anything but carrier pigeons, they're kind of messy. But,
Drop it off at City Hall, if you wish, and we'll make point to make sure that it's all documents in file. Mrs. Casey.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be interested to hear the items that are on the list that the council has already prepared.
Do you have that copy, Ms. Madam Clerk? Okay.
Have my copy as well.
Go ahead, you make a list once you read it off.
Oh, okay.
This is the list that we have to date.
this was originally generated by Councilman Nixon.
Oh, well,
I have a list as well, and
I reprinted it so it's all on one page.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So he has the complete list in there.
The integrity is on that list. Well, thanks.
Well, it is,
Who all wants a copy?
I've got,
Yeah,
okay.
I've got an extra here also. So if anybody wishes to have this one right
That
now,
one is not complete, that one is,
okay, we just want to make sure.
sure. So this was just something that,
Go ahead.
was compiled. I Googled, traits of an effective leader and traits of an effective city manager, just to see what we could come up with so we had a starting point. So they're really in no particular order. Someone who's a delegate, spare, who's a volunteer, trustworthy, understands local culture, works well with community groups, communicates clearly, promotes from within, has diplomatic skills, has self-motivation, has integrity, optimism, confidence, calmness, flexibility, industry knowledge, is organized, money management, knowledge of the chain of command, legal knowledge, written communication skills, public speaking skills, gives constructive feedback, exercises active listening, gives specific instructions, is caring, has a sense of humor, has people skills, good communicator, objective decision making, consistent behavior, values the team above self, honesty, seeks input, builds consensus, is open-minded, self-confident, a good listener, assertive but not aggressive, sincere interest in the well-being of others, perceptive, emotionally mature, invested in the success of others, hires good people, facilitates economic development, values historic preservation, is open to change, holds employees accountable, has an outgoing personality, exhibits ethical behavior, has organized presentations, good customer service, is a mediator, a team player, is respected, is respectful, is collaborative, values others, community involvement, high moral character, and strong work ethic.
I have a question to get up and address.
Please do.
I mean, Joe running this, I'm a taxpayer, I don't dwell in the city proper. However, I don't see anything about educational qualifications on this. There's particular.
I actually have that on my list. We're compiling lists right now.
Okay.
For those of you that got a list, check off the attributes you see on there, add to whatever you think is not there, and please submit them back to us. That will help us, help everyone.
Yeah, we're in the brainstorming piece of this right now.
Yeah, so this is a very cursory list. This was just a couple of Google searches. By all means, it's not all inclusive. If there's more, please add it. We'd love to hear.
Mr. Mayor, I can go forward with mine if it's helpful. Mine is a little bit shorter, but a little more specified based on skills. Knowledge, background in zoning, experience in working with municipal attorneys, experience in working with city planners, ability to understand and follow an organizational chart, good communication skills, both interpersonal and technological, experience in managing people, knowledge of Robert's Rules of Order and the Open Meetings Act, a bachelor's degree or master's degree preferred in a related field, public administration, leadership, management, communication, business, knowledge in grant writing, knowledge of the culture and history of Cedar Springs, basic computer literacy, experience working with diverse stakeholders.
A lot of that stuff we have in our application currently. to or improve, see what the community says. So,
What's important to you?
Where are you advertising for applicants?
We haven't got that far yet.
We haven't made that final decision. It'll be on MML, it'll be in some local colleges. We haven't come to that solid conclusion yet. This is where we're gathering all the information from everybody. And then we'll make our decision what direction we're gonna go. We know this is gonna take a month or 2 or 3. We wanna have it done as soon as possible.
But we want to be complete.
Madam Clerk has enough duties and responsibilities. But we want it to be complete, and we want the community to have input. We've heard the community, and we're listening. Mr. Ernie?
Quick question, does that person have to reside within the city of Petersburg?
Legally, I don't believe that.
We don't,
That's not even an option legally.
it used to be a requirement.
But
We're gonna listen to everybody, even outside concerns. You're a tax-paying non-resident. So ultimately, you would have some say.
You're the stakeholder.
Correct. You know, we're interested in stakeholders. We still need to get information from our surrounding townships, like the school board, the school system. They're our biggest employers. What do we want to see?
Our employees, who may not necessarily live here, but
True.
they're stakeholders. Absolutely.
Dan,
Yes.
isn't the requirement is to be within 20 minutes of the city?
No, the state law is, you can require within 20 miles.
20 miles, okay, I know it's 20 something, so. They have to do
yeah,
it.
Okay, it's a state law.
Yeah, we can't require any employee or to live in the city. That's not fair.
1 mile block radius is
Anyone wishing to step up? Mr. Fraser, Chief Fraser.
No, it's not cheap.
Your
Marty
citizen.
Fraser, 27 West Sheriff.
Thank you.
Setting over everybody in the town. I think council's wasted a week of time. Could have employed the MML, got the ball rolling already. As far as money goes, take it out of Thad's salary that we're not gonna pay him anymore. I mean, it's that simple. We spend $7,500 on our panel. We're gonna spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on the library planning and all that stuff. $15,000 is mere drop in the bucket as far as I'm concerned, and Dad's not gonna get that money that he would be if he was still here. And again, my concern is we've wasted a week. We're gonna, by the sound of it, we're gonna waste a few months. Let's incorporate the MML, get it done right. Get somebody in here to the highest degree. I looked over this list twice. Thad's everything on that list. I wish the council well to find somebody that's equal or better than what you've got right here right now that's gonna leave. I really, really, really hope the council heads in that direction. You got the monies available, you got the qualifications, all you have to do is step back, take your last 5 candidates, interview them and all of that. We could be talking to people next month. Instead, we're gonna have more meetings. I don't agree with that. That's as a citizen, not the department.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you, Marty.
Fraser. Christine.
Louise King, 186 East Edge. I really thank you, as council. You have my utmost trust, and I feel you represent me as a member of this community very well. And I know you will do a very good job of finding us a new city here. One thing I didn't see on this list, and you did mention degrees, but we also need an intelligent person. And I don't see that on here. A degree doesn't always reflect intelligence. I think that's very important. And you said knowledge of our unique heritage and our local history. And I think we also need someone that's supportive of our heritage and our history. They can know about it, but maybe they aren't necessarily supportive of it.
Supportive might have been a better word.
Yeah, I think we need someone that's going to embrace us, to love us as we are, and to help us move forward, to promote our community growth and development, and to help us move forward as a community, and to represent us We also need someone that is able and willing to enforce the city codes. So we have a knowledge of what they are and that they're enforced consistently throughout the town. We've had trouble with this before where the codes are enforced for some people, not for others, and some people actually feel like they're being harassed because, the code is not consistently enforced across the community. So I think we have to make sure that we're looking at someone that can ensure that happens. I realize they're not going to be the one to actually do it, but they need to provide someone that can do that, and that doesn't always happen. If at all possible, it would be wonderful to have someone who has ties to the community, has either lived here, growing up, now, or has family that lives here. That way they can better understand us and our needs and, what we're concerned about. Someone coming from another community may know that community, but they don't know us. And we definitely are a unique community. We're a very special community, and we don't want to lose that. We've had people in the past who've been city manager who haven't respected us for that, and they haven't, respected our uniqueness and what we have to offer. So I think we need to kind of watch those things. And that's all I have for right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Louise. I took notes.
Thank you.
Because I gotta go say what I didn't say and I gotta go. Next is the address,
Yes, please.
40 Brand Street. Obviously, looking for honest, direct, to help guide the council where it needs to go, so that we have a collaborative working effort. That's important. I think that's been lacking in years. Taxes concern me. I don't know a lot about how that works, but it concerns me. So I don't know if that's something the city manager looks at, a council looks at, so.
So it's like knowledge of tax.
Well, I mean, like I lived in a house in Solon Township that was built in 1998 on 5 acres, that it paid $1,600 for it. And I live here in town, and I understand that things are more accessible in town, so it parts that value, but I feel like almost $900 more for a house that was built in 1965. So somebody that can answer those questions.
Assessment?
Right.
Assessor?
Tax assessor.
He's not that great at that. He's not real confident, so.
So working with the tax assessor.
My last thing is I just gotta tell them. I made that comment that I had faith in these people because you were voted. Not by me, but by the entire community. And quite honestly, it is an embarrassment to come here. To hear everybody slander this council, that you don't know what you're doing.
It's freedom of speech.
Well, I understand that.
We appreciate it.
I understand that, but I'm a part of this community too. So my freedom of speech is I'm impressed with the way the council is moving. Businesses coming to town, working collaboratively with them. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Lauren.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
My name is Sharon Magoon, 80 Maple Street. I lived here forever, I worked here forever. I love this town, I love our logo, Red Plano. I love the library, gave 14 years of my life for that. Anyway, it's exciting to my have new buildings and everything. I am concerned, I think the law was made for a reason. I have been to meetings where I hear the fervor and the great desire for what we've wanted for a long time, and it just feels kind of like, minus the law, if we can just get what we want. And to me it feels a little like the Tower of Babel. Let's make a name for ourselves. We have a name. We need to stand in the integrity and dignity of who we are. And my concern is that we do not insist that our city manager be a bobblehead or a puppet. Whether that offends or not, I have seen that over and over in situations. So that's my concern, period. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure how to write, like, independent
Mr. Sutter.
Tom Stressman, I'm the Public Works Director. I hear a lot of people speaking with their hearts tonight. That is an amazing thing. They love Cedar Springs. I love Cedar Springs. Otherwise, I would have spent 27 years of my life here. But we can't go by our hearts. We have to go by what's good business, what's good for the city, what's good for the taxpayers. And I believe the best way to do that would be go through the MML. I'm hearing questions from staff because they're very confused about what direction the council is looking to go. We're kind of looking for an answer. Are you going to try to do this yourself? Or are you going to use the MML to do this process? If we go with trying to do it ourselves, you're adding stress and workload to the staff. Because of Mr. Taylor's going to be gone, the staff is going to be overloaded anyway. The staff doesn't have time to conduct searches for city managers, and they don't have the time for the paperwork involved. They don't have time for the research involved. That's what the MML is for. That's what they do best. They are professionals. There's no heart involved. They go for the best person for the job, the most qualified, the most for the position here. And I think, and it's my opinion, I would like to see the most qualified person that we can possibly find. I don't think we're ever going to find anybody as qualified and as good a manager all the way around as Mr. Taylor. I've been through a lot of city managers in my tenure with the city, and he is the best one we have ever had. And if we could find somebody the kind of caliber that Mr. Taylor has, honesty, integrity, it's all laid out in all those questions. But we'd like to find somebody that would just fill everything. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that. But I think the MML is more qualified. We'll draw from a bigger pool of people around the state that are willing to come here and to continue on the proud tradition of Cedar Springs and to move forward the city. We have things coming down the road that the council is kind of aware of, but the general public is not. We're looking at projects out to 2020. That's going to cost us roughly $600,000, just our portion of those projects that need to be done in the city. We need somebody that's going to administer that kind of commitment to the city and keep us going forward so we don't miss the things on the side. Just my opinion. Staff would really like to know because it's kind of keeping us in the dark and not, it's hard to be productive that way when the staff doesn't really know what's going to go on. Thank you.
Just for people's information too here, we're gathering information here with, when we do go to MML, is for when we do go there. We give that information, and that could save us a month. So any input we can gather now before we go to MML will save us a month.
And just to add on to what the mayor's saying, I mean, we certainly will see from the MML reviews there to background checking and so on. We want to give the community an opportunity to have input. And I don't know how we do that if we don't say, there's a meeting, come community, sure. I mean, we aren't excluding them now. We're saying, you're the community, you're the stakeholders, and tell us what you're looking for before we start bringing in professional organizations to compile and come. We're the ones who live here. Tell us what you need.
Yes, they're going to ask us questions, and that's why we're here tonight, so we can have that data. Mr. Remington, anyone?
Yes, my comment on the MML, and it's probably the Michigan Municipal League. I'm sure it's a professional organization of professionals that have a lot of the criteria that we're looking for, right? And I work in a professional organization information also. And by utilizing experts in the area of what you're looking for in job resources, the best methodology, in my opinion, to move forward. If you need a lawyer, you seek a lawyer. You seek a human resources person. So, in my opinion, the group should look at the MML as the first and foremost guidance for your decision making and allow them to vet everybody and everything that you're looking for and then go from there.
I just wanted to add, Marty had touched on it when he talked, with going with MML, at the last meeting last Thursday, there was some concern over the cost of it and not being budgeted, which we would take the money, like Marty said, that we were going to pay that and use that money to pay the MML, so it would not have to be any extra money. It's money that we already have earmarked for that. So the issue of money not being budgeted is not a concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that.
That's my thought process was that, also, then of course additional monies she would be able to come out of that also.
Correct. Yeah, but we would still have enough budgeted to cover that, where we wouldn't have to take from fund balance, we wouldn't have to do any budget amendments, it would all come out of the same.
Sure. And can I just expand on that for a minute? And we agree. We also know that price tag for the MML comes from a range of you come in and do everything, and we just sit here. Or, as the mayor and I, having been through this process to hire a superintendent at the school board, we know that we can do some of the initial legwork, which cuts some of the costs down while still utilizing them for background checks and listings and so on, and gives the community some input. To say, this isn't just the MML saying what it is you're looking for. This is what you're saying you're looking for. So that's kind of we're looking at a buffet of options from the MML. Does that make sense, as opposed to just a package deal of these communities we care about?
We have to put a community profile together, and by your input, we can give them that data. By the community profile. Go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
Kathy Levitt from Carnegie. But does it take another meeting every Thursday to get this done? This is a public meeting, this is where you've got the input. We really can't afford to wait to get a manager like concept. Staff needs to know, the citizens need to know, there are a lot of undone projects out there that have to be followed closely. There are timelines where you get grants in and this and that, and whether you believe it or not, they are on top of all this. So we need someone who can fill those shoes and fill them quickly, and we need professional people to do it.
That's why I wanted to have a meeting every Thursday night, so that this doesn't get bogged down one in a month. Until we make that decision, once we get MML and whoever in here, we need to keep this thing moving. We may not have them, but I want everybody to be aware that we could.
Why does this council not have MML?
We haven't
Do you think
decided.
that you're qualified to pick a candidate without professional help?
We're not making that decision.
But we're not
Discussion.
making the decision. I think the public needs to know that.
We have to discuss that amongst ourselves before we can let anyone know.
Isn't that what we're here for?
Fact-finding information from the community.
Is that what it is? The agenda was
Discussion. Okay, great, so.
Mr. Mayor, what are you hoping to find that you're not finding tonight at this community meeting? And what background legwork are you talking about besides getting a list of attributes? Your list seems quite complete to me. What else are you looking for?
Input from you folks.
Pardon me?
Input from the community.
Well, that's why we're here.
Absolutely. That's why
We're
we're
giving you
here.
input, and you
That's
want
great.
more. So what is it that you hope to find?
We haven't had a chance to talk to ourselves yet, so far we're just taking you guys' point of view, and we've got to talk amongst ourselves and vote before we're making action, if that makes sense to you.
That's where we're headed.
And we're trying to create a community. We're trying to create a community profile so we can say to the MML, here's what our community has said we're looking for. when we go to post the job,
At least my own personal hope for this meeting tonight, that I wanted some direction from community and staff. First of all, if they were willing to incur the cost of MMO, which I think very clearly has been said yes. But if I understood everyone correctly. And then also to say, you know, of this list, what's most important to you as stakeholders, as staff, as community members, as community groups, because this is someone whom we all are going to have feelings with, whom we all are going to rely on to do their job properly and professionally, and we want everyone to feel included and to have buy-in in that decision. So whomever ends up having the job, they can say, yes, this person is good for all of us. So I thank you at least for the input on the MML, because I wanted to hear from the community on that. So I thank you all for whoever's put in input on that.
Can't help but comment. It sounds like the public here this evening feels like time is of the essence, and time is money in my world, and it is in most of our worlds. So the quicker I think everyone would like to hear, the quicker you address the agenda, the qualifications, get together, make a solid decision on criteria, and present and put ads out is probably what everybody wants to hear. Not prolong it, not spend money that isn't necessary, et cetera, That's kind of the long and short of what I'm hearing.
Well, we're here too. Thank you. Mr. Navy.
Hi, I'm Kurt Navy. Some things I'd like to hear during the interviewing process when we start getting candidates. I'd like to hear reflection on all focus on Cedar Springs, nothing less. All focus on Cedar Springs, above everything else. That'd be one of the key words I'd be looking for to try to hear. Telling is during tough times, financial times, I'd like to hear somebody that knows, has a can-do attitude. And no matter what, we don't have much money, but how else can we skin this cat? I'd like to hear that during the interviewing process of how we move ahead, even when things are tough. When things are good, everybody can move ahead. But what about the ability to move ahead during tough times? I also would like to hear about the ability to build team. Team building is the most important thing that I can look back and reflect upon in my career, because it gives continuity. Continuity gives success. And because everybody knows how we're going to move ahead and know the order of things, replacement, yada, yada, yada. So I'd like to really see somebody that has the ability to build a team. I want somebody that's visionary. At my age now, I found out that there are visionaries and there's non-visionaries, and there's nothing in between. You either have the ability to see where we're going to go to, or you don't have it. And we need visionary people that can look at and see it all placed together and on a long-term scale, not just today, not just tomorrow, 10 years from now when my granddaughters are my age. I want somebody that speaks of, and they exude the lead ambassador for Cedar Springs. They are representing all of us. That when they're out and about, they are looking at Cedar Springs, and they are the model that everybody looks at.
Good word, ambassador.
I would like to see also, I don't think it's mandatory, but I think that as we're moving along in today's world also, a degree. There's a lot of universities now that provide a lot of aspects. I can't speak to all of them, but I think that's an important aspect that we should have also. Because it gives little ins and outs. Sometimes it's a trade-off. You get a greenie, what I call a whiz-bang. You line them up one direction on the go. But on the other side, there's experience also. So, but maybe there's something in between, but as we move ahead, I think a degree is of most importance also. I listen to people talk about the MML. Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I think what you're doing right here, gathering thoughts and ideas from the community, only helps put together a profile. It's an outline so that you know what you're looking for. Now all we'll have to do is have that person step forward and fill that framework. Thank you.
Do you have a list of that you want to turn into us or anything?
I did write.
Because some of this stuff we can use also in the interview process. Mr. Kincaid.
Steve Schmidt, 33 North Zip. When you're looking for professionals, you got to get professionals. Nothing against the board, but about somebody that is employed. We're not talking about a $10 an hour job. You have to have qualifications, and you gotta get people that know how to find them kind of people. And you got a big list here, and if you all look in a mirror, I mean, it looks like you're looking for some pretty tough deal. So that's all I'm saying, that, you know, you gotta make sure you're not living in glass houses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, once again. Madam Clerk, Mark Fankhauser, 91 West Wisconsin Street. First and foremost, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members, I'd like to thank all those people that spoke this evening. I believe they've been very eloquent. I believe they've actually presented a lot of good ideas, concepts. One recommendation I would like to make also is this: as we move forward in our process here, I believe you need to be able to have a way or a means to track and properly show, display to the citizens the progress we're making, whether you use a process flow map or any other type of device, a dashboard recognition, where we can see the progress the city council is making towards the ultimate goal of sitting a new city manager. I think that would help and greatly assist people and maybe quell some of those anxieties of the staff and of the citizens to see where we're at actually in the process. One thing that was I heard spoken of this evening, and we talked about these a lot of different attributes. Truly, we as a city, and I love this city. I've participated in many different aspects of the city. Sat behind a bench like you. I've supported the Red Flannel. I think in this room I believe in this room I'm the most senior supporting member of the Red Flannel as a Keystone Cop. And I challenge anyone to test my quality or my dedication to the Red Flannel. I wrote on that machine, and it's not a challenge, but I'm dedicated to this process. But I heard one thing that Tom said, and it was very, very true and rang dear in my heart. We, as an organization, as a city, as a leader, as a municipal leader, as a representative of our city and our citizens, we need to make sure that we are always striving to do what is in the best interest of our organization. And I know people want to hear the term organization or municipality, they want to make it very homespun. But truly, we have to maintain a sustainable ship and a sustainable model so we can move forward in the future. So thank you very much for your time this evening. I appreciate it. I do not wish you ill towards this process, because you're going to have a lot of fill. But if we could have a map or some kind of process flow, that would be greatly appreciated.
That's something that we might put something together on the city's webpage, or we'll figure something.
One other thing, if I may also, and I apologize for the delay, I've sat through several, in my current employment, I've sat through several national searches for fire chiefs. And I can assure you that the small amount of money that you're going to be facing to look for a new city manager is minuscule in that realm. It costs over $100,000 on a national search, and that is looking for several prime candidates. And several people this evening talked about education, several people talked about ethics, several people talked about professionalism. And these are all true attributes that we have to have. But it'll come down to the decision that you as a setting body will have to render and have those interviews one-on-one, looking at those qualifications and skills. So when we look at that, please don't be deterred by the small amount of money that we're going to be paying or potentially paying to the MML for that process. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, we've been in contact with MML. I have talked with them. So we have had some communication with them. So this is just more information we're trying to get to them. So when they ask us the questions, we say, this is what the community has presented to our staff. So that's the direction we're going.
And another question, Mr. Mayor, how is the process set up once you begin the application and use the MML? Does every individual on the board do a personal interview? Do you collectively do an interview? How is that all?
The way it'll happen is that we will, when we contract with MML, they'll send out our community profile and the questions and answers that we've had tonight. And then from them, let's say they get 40 applications. They will look at our profile and the questions we ask and weed them down to whatever number we require. 15,
Usually
10. And then from that 10, they submit to each and every one of us, then we would look at them and whittle them down to us 5.
But the we will look at them, how is that piece of it done? Is that
Legally, it has to be done in a public.
Yeah.
We get them to read, but then when and the candidates will have a number. I actually was on the council when we chose that.
Okay.
And each candidate will have a number, so 1 through 10. And we will have a public meeting with the attributes with the name not attached, the resume. And we will say, I like 3, 5, and 7. And this, Mrs. Powell will say, well, I like 3 also, but I would like to add 8.
Okay.
And we have this.
Out of ignorance,
Yeah, no,
asking that question.
And then they actually come in and they interview.
One person.
Yeah, and then they come in and interview and it's public meeting.
Yeah.
And there'll be a set of questions. Again, if we were doing complete MML, we're trying to decide if there were pieces we could do, but we ask them all the same questions in this public forum, and at the end, we vote.
So that process just to get to the public forum sounds like a long
Yes,
piece of time.
that's and we got the holidays coming, so we are trying to push this.
That would be the part where the mayor suggested we have frequent meetings to try to move it along.
Next Thursday sounds good.
Yeah, we won't be here then. Sorry.
I didn't know if you were going to pick on 5.
That would be a really lovely public meeting if it was hot water.
Yeah, that's true. Not a bad idea. I make pretty good apple pie.
Anyway, is there any other person in the audience tonight wishing to speak?
Randy Van Dyne, 3050 Churchill Drive, Rockford, representative of the Red Final Festival. Also, just to make sure you guys do. My great grandparents were just outside city limits. I was like going there for 7 when I was a child growing up, so I've been coming to this topic for many years. But list of the attributes that some are already written down, but these are our list. Number 1 is honesty, understands local culture and relationships, understands what is important to the community as a whole, the big picture. Passion, coachability, integrity, celebrate the successes, know that courage matters, keep hope alive, take responsibility, possess a service attitude, aim for the hearts, the last one, make a difference whenever and wherever you can. Thank you. Thank you for
Do you have the, can you give me the copy, email me the copy?
Email you.
Okay, thank you.
Randy.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I just had one more question.
Go ahead and come on up.
We have a job description
Yeah.
for the city manager, and it would seem that we would be taking some of those things off there to decide the qualities that we want.
Yes.
And it seems like it would be a person who, actually has a bachelor's degree and at least 3 years or more of experience in public administration, previous supervisory experience. There are a lot of things that if you guys read the job description, you can take those things and know that we need those too.
Yep.
We'll recompile them, thanks.
Yeah.
That's information.
We just wanted to get additional.
So after the public is done discussing, then you're going to discuss here and now tonight.
Very possibly.
I was going to say, or I was going to compile first so everyone has a list.
Remember, it's important that you do this in the public eye.
Right.
Not emails back and forth, but.
Right.
Okay.
But so we all have a master list.
Yeah.
For the conversation that you've presented tonight.
I've been marinating on what Mrs. Lagoon said, and I think that perhaps the quality she was looking for was intellectual courage.
Intellectual courage. I will have that.
Somebody who takes the law first is very important to me.
Well, sir.
I was trying to say that the law matters, because, as much as I love the library, as much as I think building and all this stuff is cool, and wow, wouldn't it be great for Cedar, and wouldn't it make us look better, I don't want anything to distract from the law, because then we get our butts in trouble.
Absolutely. So if I understood correctly, you were saying you would want someone that if something was just wrong, they would have the courage to stand up to council and say, I'm very sorry.
And
But
I hope
that's
I don't
illegal.
have to get rolled out of town again.
before we move on to the next item on the agenda? Hearing none.
Anybody else on the council?
Council members?
I guess I could say, I just really loved all the information I got tonight. It was just, I was so impressed by what everybody said, and gave us direction, and help, and focus, and I really appreciated it from every one of you.
Mr. Clark, anything?
I guess I would like a little clarity on a possible idea that was presented. If we were to consider someone of a local nature, how would we incorporate them into the Michigan Municipal League list?
Anybody?
Is that easy to do for us? We just suggest them to?
Well, I can tell you from when we hired Thad, that one of the people that was on that list, who we didn't hire, but we did his interview, was Roger Belknap, who was at the time, Director of Public Works.
Anybody can put it.
So anybody can put in an application. And again, this would be part of where, like, I've had several people say that they want people connected to the community. So if that's one of the things we tell MML when we're screening, that'd be one of the things they look for.
Well, we can't deny anybody from putting an application.
Anybody can put an application.
Well, I didn't think that was the problem.
But if we're saying to MML,
How
You can't put
that
people
work.
for an application, they have to apply for the job.
correct.
Everybody, we
But
can't.
we can't deny
I don't know where
someone
you're
the
coming from.
ability to
Absolutely.
apply.
No.
But what we're telling MML is, these are the specific things we want you to look for
Yeah.
in an applicant. And if one of the things we're saying, which is what I'm hearing from people, is someone who's connected to the community, then that would be a thing they would look for.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?